and welcome to Creative Human, where we have deep dive conversations with creative professionals on how to ascend and how to adapt in a changing world. I'm your host, Tom Martin, and I want to start off by saying thank you. We dropped our first 3 episodes last week. The response has been so cool, just to see the amount of people who listen, and I'm not here to try to get thousands and thousands of listeners and viewers off the bat. I'm just trying to have genuine conversations with people I admire, and so far, the response, even with dozens of listeners, has been so cool. I really appreciate the few messages I got, all of the shares and the likes and comments. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is really cool to get launched and off the ground, and the goal remains to have genuine conversations with awesome creators, and today's episode is no exception. Koon is one of my favorite people that I've got a chance to work with in the past, and Austin is based in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He's the founder and owner of Made Film Co. And Austin just makes really cool stuff. Whether he's holding the camera, whether he's in charge of a project and crewing out, he's been at this for a while now. And he's someone who, between having one kid and having another baby on the way and trying to scale and grow a business, is always thinking about what's the most important thing in his life. And sometimes that's the creative, and sometimes that's the non-creative stuff. The balance is really interesting, and I think you'll enjoy this conversation that we had together. Austin Koon, it's great to have you on the podcast. I think last time you and I worked together directly was 4 years ago in Atlanta, but I have certainly followed along. I know you've been part of a handful of projects that my old teammates at Two Circles would run. I look at you as just a relentless source of positivity, so I'm expecting a really positive, happy next hour for our listeners here. But thanks for coming on, and before you can even say thanks for having me, we have to start with the first question, which we always ask here, which is, what makes you a creative human?
Oh man. Um, well, I mean, I create things, so I feel like we're all a little bit creative in our own ways. Yeah, I mean, love the creative process and just immense imagination and stuff like that. So I think, I mean, at the end of the day, just create things, and it's probably a terrible answer. I feel like I should have
Oh
prepped
man,
myself more
we're
for that
gonna
one.
we're gonna just scrap the whole thing now. What is your creative process like?
Oh yeah, I mean it's just a constant my brain I would say, and I feel like most people are probably like this in this industry or in other creative fields, but um it's just a constant flow of like ideas and thoughts and seeing things, getting inspired, and you're awake at 11 at night, or you wake up at 3 in the morning and you're like, oh wait, I have this thought that could be something special. And so um, it's very much like random and spontaneous, and a lot of just flow. I guess flow state is what people call it when you're supposed to be sleeping or focused on something else. Growing up, that was probably in class or something, but um, yeah, just I would say spontaneous, and it's just always something, always looking around for inspiration and whatnot.
I always go back and forth on those maybe for me it's like 11 at night thoughts. And I'm thinking, is this good for me? Shouldn't I be asleep? Shouldn't I have a peaceful mind? And then I put it towards something the next day or whenever I can, and I go, oh, that was really cool. So maybe there's not something wrong with us. Maybe this is just how we have to live.
Yeah, I've come to accept it more recently, where it's like, I used to feel guilty. It's like, oh, I shouldn't be awake at this time, or, I should be more focused on something else in this moment or doing something more productive. But it's like, it's always in those moments that your brain just like comes up with something. You're like, hold on, I have to write this down, or I have to really like flesh this out so this idea comes to fruition, because otherwise it's just gonna go in the pile of the millions of other ideas you've had in your life that you've never acted upon. So, yeah, I feel like you have to like accept that like that's how, if that's how you function, that's how you function.
Austin, I know you as a videographer, as a small business owner, as I guess a director, sometimes a DP. Tell people what you do and how often, or maybe I should say, what role you're typically playing across a variety of different projects that I've seen you do.
Yeah. It's funny because it's a lot of roles with running a company and doing, the talking with clients, the pre-production process, storyboarding, scripting out stuff, the
And your company
budgeting,
is
the
Made Film. Made
Made
Film. Go
Made
give them a
Film Co.
follow.
Yeah, sorry, Made Film Co. Yeah, but like, you're kind of doing everything until you hire people out to do other parts of the project. But running the company, looking at numbers, looking at like ideation and creation of projects, and um, doing kind of it all. So a little bit of everything. I will say I enjoy the process of being behind the camera and getting to have some hands-on in the project and looking at ideas coming to life in that moment. So um, kind of do a bit of everything, but enjoy the being t holding the camera. That's always the fun part for me.
How often are you holding the camera versus being the guy who is orchestrating and hiring and scripting? How often are you brought on as a shooter and working with a different producer versus kind of doing all of it?
Yeah, I mean, so I consider there's like in my mind, and I know this probably isn't accurate, but I always consider like there's like freelance and then there's like, my own company stuff, like my own production stuff. And so I don't do as much freelance anymore, just like kind of camera for hire stuff. I'll probably do like 2 to 3 gigs a year at this point, where I just kind of come in, capture, do the stuff for the week or whatever, and then leave. Um, but the rest of the year is all hands on deck, like, or I guess two hands on deck, doing the rest of it. So start to finish stuff. From yeah, so pre-production to post-production, all of it, I would say is the majority of what I've been doing lately.
Was that intentional?
Oh yeah, for sure. The freelance stuff was super fun for the longest time. Like, I mean, coming out of from the moment I got out of college, like I had been doing a bunch of freelance work and like traveling all over and just getting to do like the most fun events and stuff, working with you all at two when you were at Two Circles, and working with Fresh Tape and some other companies. But and there was a season where my wife and I did it together, and so um we were getting to travel all over, do it all the time, but we were like on a flight like for a couple days, or like we'd go travel somewhere, land, sleep at our apartment for like a day, and then like go somewhere else. So there was a lot of like just a season of grinding and like traveling, and it's like I don't regret it at all. It was super fun.
Yeah.
But in this stage of life where it's like, I have a daughter now, I have a son on the way, and it's like, things need to be, I guess, more, you know, uh, I'm able to accept and reject things, I like certain jobs and stuff where I can kind of control the amount of travel and the amount of just being away from home, and um, more projects that are local, and stuff that makes sense for this stage of life, I think.
So you're based in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yep.
You've got a sweet Chattanooga flag behind you, which we can get into later on. But
Yeah.
tell us like who your regular clients are, what a lot of your your regular work looks like now. Because I think like you're a Clemson grad, you're part of a awesome tradition of creatives there. Your name and your work is attached to some really big brands and some really awesome entities. And yet I also look at your Instagram and you do awesome work for brands that are local to Chattanooga that not a lot of people know about. And it still looks awesome. And it seems like you're having a great time. So kind of tell us a bit about how that sort of balances out now.
Yeah. First of all, I appreciate it. That was a huge compliment.
Oh, not at all.
But so yeah, I mean, I've always kind of been under the mindset of like it doesn't matter who you're working for, like you can create really cool stuff. It's just it's obviously easier when it's like, all right, I'm filming for an NFL team, and the show they put on is phenomenal. You got the fireworks and the lights, and just like college football too. But um, So I mean, it's for me, it's fun no matter what, league or whatever. It doesn't matter if it's like if we were filming like a little kid's soccer game, like you could make it creative and make it, beautiful and like do the cinematography well.
Did that come naturally to you, or has that been an evolution to feel that way?
Um, no, I mean, I don't know where along the process that mindset started, but I think it's just kind of been true throughout. In high school we would film our own stuff, like our own sports and whatever we were into at the time. And back then I didn't have access to the things I've had access to over the past few years, and that stuff was fun and it was enjoyable. And I think just over the years it's just kind of been like I think it like on a certain level, like it's almost easier to do the big stuff because like you can film any superstar in these crazy environments and like typically it looks pretty cool. So like it becomes a real challenge to do that when like you don't have the huge audience in the background, or like you don't have the fireworks necessarily, you don't have the lights and stuff like that. So it's like how can I make this that's, a smaller scale of what I used to, or what I have been used to.
And so the Baylor School in Chattanooga gets NFL, Clemson, college football level expertise behind a camera during their games. I diverted big time away from your client list, but yeah, tell us about some of your regular clients that you work with a lot and are trusted by.
Yeah. So Baylor School in Chattanooga is a big one. They're probably the client I work with most consistently. And it's a little unfair because I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter what league they're in or whatever, but they have like we probably had 8 or 9 D1 recruits on the team,
For
so it's
for
still
those who don't know, the Baylor School is legit. Like across the board, every
yeah.
sport, they are legit.
I think they were they ended the year 17 or 15 in football for max preps for high school. And granted, those rankings don't really, I mean, it's kind of hard to rank thousands and thousands of high school teams. But anyway, so yeah, they're very legit. They got a bunch of like crazy grads that are going on to do like, rookie of the year in baseball type things, and or MLB and whatnot. But they're crazy. Yeah, it's awesome. It's a incredible school. The coach and I actually grew up in the same area, have a bunch of connections, the football coach. But it's wild. But yeah, I work with them pretty consistently, and I think there's something super rewarding about just getting to try to deliver something that you would typically have done, back when I worked at any of the colleges or any of these freelance gigs, and try to give it to high school and be able to do stuff for them at that level. Um, and just the relationships you build, and working with a bunch of young people and getting to just see how they operate and try to be a positive influence in their life as much as you can. I think it's pretty cool. So
You say young people, you're not exactly a geezer, man. Like you're what are you? Are you 30 yet?
32.
You're
Oh,
32. Okay.
old man, how old are you?
Old I'm 34, 35 next month. So
We're still young.
we're still young. We're still young. But I feel myself in this sort of, as I've left my old agency and gone freelance, um, I'm what you're saying resonates with me very deeply around it's not as much the logo as it is the people you work with, the opportunity to tap into what you feel you do the best or enjoy the most. And for someone like Baylor to have a regular relationship with you, I feel like has to be incredibly fulfilling. I also see you out on boats. I see you on golf courses. Do you will all these awesome environments into becoming clients, or have they found you? How has this happened? You have a great, great list of clients.
Yeah, yeah. No, I would say I'm very blessed to have, a bunch of kind of word of mouth clients that have come along and gotten to work with them, and some really good people along the way that it's just kind of worked out. And um but no, I mean, that's not to say I haven't worked really hard to try to like push into those industries. It's not like by accident.
Yeah.
The sports stuff is obvious. I mean, that's been my background since I started like really in this industry. But the fishing stuff, I've been over the a little before COVID, started getting really into like fly fishing and stuff like that. And so I've been pushing heavily into that industry and the fishing industry. And I mean, it's just like I feel like you work, not that you work harder, but like when you're enjoying what you're doing, it makes it like that much easier. And so to like find something that I'm passionate about and try to like get out there and um it's not a bad day when you get to spend time on a boat and like yeah, I mean even if you're not fishing, you're getting to be around fishing and stuff. So that's always fun for me
What is
at
it
any
that
point.
you think keeps people bringing you back?
Mm. Oh, you might have to ask them that. Uh,
I'd
I
love your perspective because I like you said I don't think it's accidental.
yeah, I mean I think at the end of the day and I've said this a lot recently, like the relationships are the most important thing to me
Yeah.
because no matter what you're providing, the relationships are going to be what matters when when this is all over and you come to the end of your life or, something happens in your life. And, it's over. Like the relationships matter more than anything you ever created or produced. And, while there might be a legacy in that, obviously, but how you cared for people, how you operated within your business and took care of people and made sure you did your best for them, doing your best work, you know, with um, with them in mind and their success as well. I think that's the most important thing. So I would say maybe that's why people bring me back. I don't know. I think I've been able to build some like really good friendships in the industry and with clients and it's not just like talking business all the time. It's, making sure they're doing okay and vice versa. And it's just kind of a friendship at the end of the day. And I know that's not always the best business practice because sometimes like it hurts when things don't work out or like something negative happens, like any relationship. But I think that's the way I want to do business. I want to enjoy people more than anything.
I think great friendships open the door for tough conversations. If anything, it makes it easier to say, this isn't about how I feel about you. This is about this goal we have or this thing that we're trying to evaluate. So let's be real with each other. This is where it's good. This is where it could improve. What do you think? I think it's easier to have those conversations when you've got a great relationship with the other person.
Yeah.
Rhetorical thought.
No,
Hey,
that's no,
so
I totally agree. I mean, that opens the doors for real conversation and push back that if you need to push back on something and um it gives the freedom for you and the client to, have a real conversation and make things work even better.
I
So it's
have
great.
two questions on the complete opposite end of the spectrum in terms of just how big and heavy they are. Which would you like to answer first? What is your most common rig, and how has being a father changed your life?
Ooh. Um like what camera I typically what setup
Yeah,
I'm
what are you
on?
usually
Okay.
setting up on?
The other one's gonna take a
Dude,
minute.
gearhead. Yes,
So
this is perfect way to answer this.
yeah, okay. So we'll do the gear first and then fatherhood is a whole different ball game. So yeah, I run on the Blackmagic Ursa 4.6K G2. I don't know why
Nice.
the name is so long.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
clarifications.
yeah, most people are like FX6. You're like, all right, I got it. And you're like, well, all right, the Blackmagic, yada 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 yada. But yeah, that's typically what I have. I have that in a FX3 that I'll run. Do a lot of like underwater stuff, which the FX3 is phenomenal with.
Dang.
Because you need that low light when you're getting deeper in the water. But that's what I'm using. I don't lens wise is just pretty standard Sigma Canon stuff, and then some DZO cine lenses that I just added to the arsenal. So pretty excited about those.
The reason that I ask those questions in that order is what you just geeked out about can be the sole focus of your life for up to a point. And then you have kids. And I don't have kids yet, but man, I can't wait. And it'll come for us soon, I'm sure. What has having kids done to change uh, your focus around your creative passions?
Mm,
Um, how has that impacted or been impacted by having one child? And congratulations on the next on the way.
nice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it changes everything. It kind of flips your life upside down, and um, it I will say it makes you want to spend more time, in the house. So doing those travel projects and stuff, it becomes a little bit more difficult. But yeah, no, it changes everything, and spending time with my daughter has been the best thing. And um, I mean, it just makes me want to like bring her as far as like creatively and in the business. It just like excites me for the future and like bringing her along to like shoots that it would be appropriate to bring, a kid along or like help out on set and stuff and like show her this world that I've been in. And um, uh, it just like, you know, um, get to see it. 'Cause I feel like she's already a really creative kid, just the way her personality has developed. So it's gonna be fun to just see um, how she operates. And I don't know, it's just the best. And yeah, travel gigs and stuff like that are great, but spending time at home and being with her is awesome. So I can't imagine having second one right now. It's gonna be daunting and beautiful and amazing. So we'll
Are
see.
you planning and being like, here's how we'll adjust things and change, or is it just, hey, you do your best and then he or she gets here and then do your best again?
Yeah, there's only so much prep you can do. Um, I feel like that was like going into having our first child. We were like, I mean, you can read all the books, you can do whatever, but like there's nothing that can prepare you. I mean, it's like I mean, no, well, it's not like anything else, but like any big decision or whatever that you're like, I can only prepare so much, and then I just gotta figure it out and do it, and um, learn the process and learn how my life's gonna change, and then adjust accordingly. So yeah, it's exciting though, the whole process.
Does being a father help with imposter syndrome?
Mm,
And the reason I ask is because that can be a very familiar feeling for a lot of people in a creative field until they have something that comes along that matters more than their career.
hmm.
Has that helped you, or do you still get this sense of, man, I'm seeing other people do this, and I should be doing that? Does that still come up for you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the way that our society works right now with like social media and stuff, that it's kind of hard not to have that a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you are trying to depending on how much content you consume, even if you don't consume a lot. I mean, you're scrolling your feed, you can scroll for 15 minutes and you've seen like 30 people do these incredible projects, and then you feel like you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. Like this person had really good lighting, like she had this incredible like cinematography. Oh, look at the way this guy's running his business. And it's like, oh, that business is way more successful than my business. Or like maybe I'm just, not to that level yet. And I think like the important thing these days is to like celebrate your wins. And like, I feel like honestly, it kind of goes, it kind of reminds me of when I was at Clemson. I feel like Dabo was really good at remembering to like celebrate wins and not like be like, okay, well, and I know like sometimes you get flack for that when you don't have as good of a season, but like it's important to celebrate wins and not always just look at like where you're failing. I think that's pretty crucial to be grateful and to be thankful. And I think gratefulness it combats the idea of like imposter syndrome, I would say, because it gives you a chance to be like, look how far I've come, I'm doing really cool stuff, and I'm thankful to be where I am. And I think that's the probably the best way to go against it, because I think any creative's going to have that regardless, especially in our society when you're bombarded with all the success of other people and you're only seeing the greats. I mean, like you're only seeing this like their best stuff. That's what they're putting out. So um, you don't see their tears for other things.
Not at all. Everything is so to because in honor of Philip Rivers' return to the NFL, everything is so dadgum interpretive. It is just up to how your body and your mind are feeling that day. I could watch what you just described on a social media feed and just be like, if I'm having a great day, I could see other people's great work and I could go, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, way to go, way to go, way to go. And on a different day, I go, oh my God, how did they do that? And I need to change my entire approach. And like, you could get bogged down. Nothing fundamentally changed except me and whatever
Yeah.
was leading into my day and me feeling that way. So to your point, It's funny, man. I think I was more cynical when I was younger, and I have
Mm,
gotten less cynical as I've gotten older, which feels reversed. Um, Everyone told you it was going to be different, and it's not. And I used to say, well, just saying I'm grateful for stuff. I mean, I'm just sort of putting lipstick on a pig some days, aren't I? And the truth is, uh, like you said, man, there's so many different victories that you have over the course of a day or a week or a year that you don't suddenly go, good for me, and way to
mm,
go and way to put the work in. And if you're lucky enough to have a partner, friends, you'll hear that from them. A good manager at work, teammates at work, you'll hear that from them. But saying it to yourself is not gratuitous. It is just calling it like it is. And I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like that's such a key to being able to have the mindset of it's not the logo. This isn't my identity. This is
mm.
just something I get to really enjoy doing. But obviously, I want to do a good job and push myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you brought up a couple of things there. I think it's also easy not to celebrate other people's wins and be
Mm,
like, instead you just get jealous and bitter and you're like, oh man, like they're having all this success. Like, what am I
that's
doing
such a
wrong?
good point.
And no, yeah. And I mean, like you were saying that, like, as you scroll through, it's like such a mindset thing of like, good for them. Like, I feel like it's so hard to see somebody like you might have a dream of whatever it is. Like maybe you're a young creative and you want to be in the NFL or whatever, and you're seeing this person who was like kind of on the same level as you, and then next thing you know, they're like working in the league and they're doing all these amazing things, and you're like, well, you're just frustrated because you're like, why isn't that happening to me? And I feel like you just got to work hard and God will open doors when it's time for you, and maybe your path is different than other people's, and um, you might I don't I think it's such a mindset thing of just not like getting jealous, not getting bitter or whatever, and being like, I want to celebrate these other people's wins. Um, and then another thing that kind of, and this is kind of going back to the imposter syndrome thing, but
Yeah,
a lot of times, even when you get jobs that you're like almost a little overwhelmed by, you're like, oh, this is like really cool. Like, am I prepared for this? I remember Jared at Fresh Tape used to say, like, he would tell us, he would be like, hey, like, you've earned this opportunity. There's a
yeah.
reason you get to do this. And like, that was always so encouraging because it was like, you kind of feel like you're like, I don't know if I like, do I belong in this room? Like doing this crazy thing with, X client or whatever it is. And he would always encourage us and be like, hey, there's a reason you're here. And like, have confidence in that. Cause like,
It is so much more common that people ask themselves that question than don't. You
mm,
always think you are the sucker, the whole poker analogy. But more than likely the one who is the outlier is the person who is just free of that.
mm,
And, to your point, man, preparation helps you become free of that, but it's just a lot of times it's a mental layer that just shows up because you want to do a good job and you've absorbed a lot of other people's stuff and there's a part of you that says I would like for someone else to feel that way about what I'm doing.
mm,
Um, and I think the key is how do you feel about what you're doing?
yeah,
Um, are you enjoying what you're doing? Do you feel like it taps into your purpose? And it's a hard thing to arrive at the younger you are. The
yeah.
more experience you get, like, do you think it was easier for you to settle into this great, at least from my perspective, it looks like you've got a really great balance of the type of work you do, the clients you have, the ability to push yourself, the ability to have some dependent, consistent income. Do you feel like you got to this point being a really great place to be because you did some of the big stuff and you go, this is nice, but there's still something left kind of wanting? Does that
Mm.
resonate with you or am I kind of reading too much into it?
Yeah, no, I'm for sure. There's been a lot of like thought behind because I feel like when you're, and maybe not even when you're younger, like I mean, this can go through your whole life, but like
Yeah.
there's a lot of when I was first in this industry and like I feel like a lot of it was just chasing these like really cool big things where like, you got to go home and be like, well, I worked with I was at the Grammys this week and I'm next to these superstars and it's like the craziest thing on the planet. And like you have all these stories, so like you feel valuable and relevant to people, like people want to talk to you about stuff and it kind of um it gives you like some status and clout and whatnot. And I feel like over the years it's just kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, a lot of that stuff isn't that important. Um,
Mm,
and good, real relationships with people and community and, being known is way more important. And like shooting these big gigs, like every now and then you have a relationship with some of these people that you're filming with, but like most of the time it's like, I was standing there and I filmed Justin Bieber, but he has no idea who I am, nor does he care. And like I'm sure he's a nice guy, whatever. But like whoever it is, it's like at the end of the day, it's like, man, like that won't fill your soul. But like
mm.
having people who care about you and you've invested time with and you have deep relationships with, like that's what's going to fill you up. And like doing something that gives you purpose. Um, and so I think taking a step back from being like, I just have to like get all these cool gigs and like, have the status of X and or like whoever's name and stuff like that on it. It's like that. I mean, sure, that can happen and you can have jobs like that, but like, what's a lot of times fulfilling for me is just like being in the woods, fishing or like filming somebody fishing. And like, I think like the beauty of nature is like super cool. And, um, I, this is so cheesy, but like, I like am a big fan of like owls. I think owls are really cool, like in nature. And I'm like, I would rather spend time like just looking at this elusive creature that not a lot of people get to see all the time. And like that's a special moment for me. And like, treasuring those little things like that rather than just being like, all right, I need clout, I need followers, I need likes, I need to blow up. I just like it's like no, it's like find what's fulfilling and then chase that.
So ironic that I'm having you on after Googling Chattanooga the other day before we talked about doing this because somehow it came up. And I'm thinking, doesn't Chattanooga seem like kind of the perfect place to be at this stage? Like I think about Austin because I'm from Houston, and Austin,
Mm,
Texas was sort of like 30 years ago, similar ish to Chattanooga. Didn't have quite the same natural offerings around it. And then it just blows up and it completely loses its soul to some
mm,
degree. And Chattanooga to me seems like this really idyllic mix of you have what you need. You have a very bustling city, but it's just surrounded by all this great nature and owls. Why why hasn't Chattanooga had its moment? Is everyone in Chattanooga like don't change this place very much? Because to me, you mentioned community. And
mm.
with the way the algorithms have changed on social media, social has no longer had the same communal sense as it used to have. And so to
Yeah.
find that in real life, I feel like Chattanooga offers that, at least from this bird's eye view or this owl's eye view.
Yeah, it's coming though. Just like everywhere, every other
Should
cool
we
small
gatekeep?
town. Yeah, no, don't tell anybody. No, it's yeah. I feel like every city like this is experiencing like, which is not a bad thing.
No.
Major influx because people want to experience it too. But
Well, and there's only so
um,
much developable land in the metro. It's they sort of
yeah,
built it strategically so you could not do. And like I'm in Manhattan, which is not a
yeah.
lot of room anyway, so we just like shoved it all here. But Chattanooga is not about to become Manhattan. Like you do have an ability to kind of withstand this, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's literally like it's almost like a moat. You got like a river going around it. Like, nobody else. We can't fit anymore. We've only got so many bridges. Um, but no, it's sweet. It's super outdoorsy, like just really chill. A lot of very down to earth people. A lot
Mm.
of people just want to be here to like boulder or rock climb or, go on the river or whatever else they go fishing.
Are you from
Um,
there?
no, no. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina.
That's what I thought.
So,
Okay, so why
yeah.
Chattanooga? How did you guys move there? What was it?
That was a family thing more than anything. So Anna's oldest sister lived here with her family, and we
Got it.
visited a bunch. And yeah, we were like, this place is cool. So we moved here temporarily, and then we've been here for almost, 3.5, little over 3.5 years now. So,
Very,
which is
very cool.
everyone's story here. They're like, well, I came here, and I was planning to leave, and then it's been 9 years. So, that's tends to be the thing here.
Do you and your wife still work together? Like in like running the business?
Not as much anymore.
Okay,
She takes care of our daughter, and I'm
good for her.
very grateful for that. Although I do miss like the projects we used to get to go on and stuff. But we had a really good season of like working together all the time, and
So
any
y'all worked
travel we
well
did.
together. This was not a difficult relationship because I feel like I love my wife more than anything, and she can listen to this. She'd be the first to admit that I don't think she and I would work well together. We are such a great thing for each other to come back to after work. But
Hmm.
you guys had a good thing.
Yeah. Which I feel like is not typical. Like normally you don't want to like I feel like that would be more typical to like work with your spouse and be like,
That's
this
why I
is
don't feel bad
not.
about it.
Yeah, no. That I think it's very like it's just weird that we like worked well together. But like we had so much fun. It was a good time.
What would
And
she
we love.
do?
She did all the. I mean, she did video production or like the video side of things as well. So like
Nice.
any of the production part of it, she would be in the process of it. But she was. I mean, she was always great to have on set too, because like she was just so good with the people. And so like I'm like more recently I'm like I don't even you don't even have to pick up a camera. Like, can you just come on set to like talk to people because you're like so good at that portion of it of just like making sure everybody's comfortable and happy and content, and she's very thoughtful, so she's always thinking about like what other people are thinking, or like if somebody's not being talked to, like if they're just like sitting in the corner, like she's like very intentional about engaging with that person, or um yeah, just making everybody feel comfortable and loved. And she was phenomenal with doing the camera work too, but she just had a gift at that, so I do miss that, having her do that stuff.
How do you balance? And I want to get into some of the AI stuff. It should be a staple of this show. But
Yeah.
how do you balance the? I saw you did a Live Golf Media Day, and there you
Mm,
are with Ian Poulter, and you're working with a professional like that who's done a million of these, and then you work with a Baylor School kid who's never done this before. How do you balance working with talent across so many different backgrounds and experiences? You know, some people love to say, I've done this same thing 1,000 times and I can do it in my sleep. But for you, it
mm.
must be very different working with lots of different types of people.
Yeah, yeah, for
What's your
sure.
approach? How do you maintain what you do well when they are always different?
Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, I think it's just it might be a subtle change in approach. I feel like I should be asking you this question because I feel like you've worked with some
You can ask me
pretty
whatever
wild
you
people.
want.
So we'll flip in a second. But
That's fair.
um yeah, I think it's like I mean with the kids at Baylor, they're also chill and like they don't do this stuff all the time, like you're saying. So like they're just having fun with it.
Yeah.
And you can kind of be more loose and whatnot. And I think at the end of the day though, like everybody's they're still people.
Mm,
Um and so like treating them like a person is probably like the best approach. But I think with a lot of those guys, some of them are like super chill. I know you've had this experience a ton where it's like they're just people, and people treat them like gods a lot of times if they're like a big celebrity. But at the end of the day, like I feel like those people will act like that if you treat them like that. But if you just treat them like a person, they're like a lot more thankful to just like be treated like a person. But for example, on that live golf shoot, there was a moment where we had to shoot with Phil Mickelson, and we had like had a setup, and like we had to pivot and go shoot somewhere else. So they were like, all right, you got literally 3 minutes. So we had to shoot like driving and putting with Phil.
okay.
Um, and so it was like, here's the thing with Phil, like he's a pro. So if you if you lose your professionalism, I'm sure you've worked with him too. Um, then he will be like, "All right, I'm done." Like he'll be engaged
Yeah.
until you lose character and you're like, "I'm no longer. I'm just like goofing off or whatever." Not goofing off, but like not treating this like a serious situation. And so yeah, in those moments, it's like, "All right, how do we lock in, be direct, be clear, concise with what we need him to do? He'll do it, and then we're done." And it's a very quick thing, but. Yeah, I want to hear the same question for you because you've
Well,
had
I
a
think
ton
I
of
think what
crazy
I've
experiences.
I think what I've learned working with talent, and especially if you're the one who is I guess directing them, is um, very much what you said around if you show a passion for what the thing is and you demonstrate that you're interested in doing it well,
Mm,
they will come along for the ride. If you try to, like, you can be like, hey, I want to treat this person like a person, but if you seem like you're kind of slacking off and just trying to buddy buddy, they're going to be like, yo, dude, I could be a million other places right now
Yeah.
if they've done a lot of these before. So I think there's that, and then there's also just being very, very intentional with them about saying, here is what I want you to do.
Hmm.
And you could be anyone to them. But, if I go to get my car fixed, I don't want the mechanic to be like, you can sort of do whatever you want. I'm like, no, you need to tell me what we should do here.
Yeah.
I'm coming to you not because I see all your trophies on the wall, but because you are in this position and there must be a reason for it. So anytime, you could be a 19-year-old director, and if you say to a 35-year-old athlete, I'm stoked to work with you. Here's the vision for this. Here's what I'd like you to do. Do you have any questions?
Hmm.
Like, I think they're going to respect that. At least, the material can always influence opinions, but that approach, I think, is always the way to go.
Hmm.
At
What's
least that's what I've learned.
yeah, no, for sure. I think
All
that's
right,
great.
ask me
What
questions. You want to ask
Yeah,
me a
yeah.
couple?
No, I want to ask you questions. Following that same line of thought, because I don't want to like say like what's a bad experience you had? Like what's like your one of your most memorable like situations like that where you had to direct somebody and like somebody who was fun to work with and you know.
I worked a couple years back with Max Homa and Mark Blackburn on a project with the PGA, and Homa, it couldn't be a nicer guy and couldn't
Mm,
be more disarming in a good way when you first engage with him. There's no aura with him where you're like kind of taken aback. It's much
mm,
more, hey, how you doing? I'm Max. And I felt in the moment, without a lot of directorial experience, that I let my guard down a little too much. And I go, kind of afterwards, as I was debriefing the shoot in my brain, I could have gotten more out of him. I
mm,
could have managed to be a bit more on task. And I let a little too much of, wow, how great is Max Homa influence? What are we here to do? And
mm,
I think the project turned out well. We didn't do post, and I wish we would have done post because there's things as a director I love to edit. So like being able to then be like, and that was exactly what it was supposed to be. Um, but uh, that was one where that sort of taught me this isn't about you and the story you get to tell about the person after. This is about getting a job done. And if you take your eye off the ball even a little bit, that's what you'll regret. You won't regret, oh, I wish I had this good story and this good conversation with Max, um, if you take your job seriously. So I know that's not one that like I crushed, but I think that's maybe the more interesting answer for you.
that's a good, I mean, like that's a pretty helpful lesson, I think, for people because that's so true though. Like you meet somebody who's disarming and then you're like, "Oh yeah, I can just kind of like chill. And we'll just
Yeah,
have a good time." And like sometimes that's a good thing, but like a lot of times it's like, "Oh, I got too chill." Yeah.
it's good in between takes. It's nice to be able to say, okay, what did you think? Cool? Yeah, no? It's my fault? Yeah, it's totally my fault. Yeah, we'll do it again. We'll do it again. But when you're managing your shot list and when you're trying to say, are we thinking it like your focus just goes. And you
Mm,
want to be so as a director, you want to be so focused and dialed in.
mm.
And I am hardly a directorial authority, but I've been in those situations, so that's what kind of comes up to me.
I don't know if
Um,
that's true. You crush it. So
you
you're
are
being
you are
humble
too
there.
you're too kind, my friend. Before we jump into AI, anything else on your mind?
Well, I want to hear more about your stuff, but maybe we can. I don't know how much time we have. I want.
I'll give you one short answer. What do you want to hear?
Um, what are you? Oh, I don't have my list of questions.
This was your idea,
Excuse
so
me.
you can
Yeah,
only
no,
blame yourself.
this is great. No, well, if I only get like one question, then I got to make it count. Um, what's kind of your goal, I think,
Mm.
in creating your company? And like, if you could kind of summarize what your goals and vision for your company, that's a very weighty question, but
No, it's a good question. My goal for the company is to, similar to you, put myself in a position to be trusted by people I enjoy working with that leverage what I do best and what I enjoy doing most. And that doesn't have a specific number of clients, it doesn't have an income attached. Uh, I am starting with that mindset and expecting the income, the clients, the logos, or whatever it is to follow.
Mm,
Because I've done this long enough now where trying to reverse engineer that isn't how I want to do it. It can be done. There are people who can go and chase down clients and say, I want to work for them. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and I'm going to get them. And
mm,
they lasso the moon and they bring it down. And I'm like, way to go. That's not how I work. I am very much a let's put me in a position to try to prove something to you because I can talk to people. I'm hosting a podcast,
yeah.
but I don't like pitching myself. I like you saying, "Oh, you did a good job with this, and now I know why I want to work with you." So I'm I've almost looked at the first 6 months of this man as like a bit of a sabbatical.
Mm,
Um, because I can, which is nice. It's an amazing privilege to be able to go slow for a minute and zoom
mm,
out and refresh my thinking. And I've been lucky to have some early projects, and I'm lucky to have some really great prospective work coming in the in the new year. I have no idea if I want to hire people. I want to go as long as I can on my own, dude. And that's just
mm,
for me. Other people think differently. That's just something that I want to try. My dad ran his own business for 30 years. I always questioned growing up, why don't you have a bunch of coworkers and people you can tell stuff to do? And it wasn't for him.
mm.
And being able to come to that realization after years of being at an amazing place like Let It Fly in Two Circles, it suddenly crept in that I was maybe ready for that.
Yeah.
So that's a bit more of a long-winded answer than a short one, but
Honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better answer. So that's really insightful, I think. And I think I relate a lot to what you're saying of just kind of, you know, figuring it out and, do you want to hire people? Do you not want to hire people? And how big do you want to grow? I'd rather have relationships and um, all the things. So yeah,
it's a
no,
it's
that was really enjoyable. I'm glad I
it's a
got to hear
people
that answer.
business, it's a people world as much as we watch screens. So on the subject of people, let's talk about AI.
Oh yeah.
I am very curious about, and I should also say, by the way, that like what you've done and built has inspired me too. Seriously.
Hmm,
I don't care how long I've been doing this, who I've worked with, what my resume says. Um, you could you could take away a lot of things from me all of a sudden, and who cares about all that stuff? I'm the same as anyone else.
hmm,
So to see what you've done and to see that, you know, again, I just the word I use is cultivate. I feel like you've cultivated based on who you are, this career and these clients that just it seems like it's doing really well for you. So
hmm.
that inspired me as well. Um, I just didn't want to go without saying that.
Oh, I
But
appreciate it.
let's talk about AI, and I maybe not as much with you because damn, I love where we've gone so far, and we're already like 40 minutes in or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but just overall, how much have you followed the evolution of AI tools, AI platforms? What's your broad opinion on where we are?
Yeah, I for a while I resisted because I was like, this is dumb. Don't do this. No, we don't. Nope. It's not gonna. We can't replace people. Um, and then there was kind of an acceptance phase of we're going. I mean, a lot of tools are super helpful nowadays.
Right.
Not necessarily like, hey, the replacing of, you can create anything out of nothing. But like the vocal enhancers and all these things, you got clone voices, super helpful for the process. So it's changed a lot of the way I function. But as far as the like, you can't tell the difference between somebody filming something and something AI made. Um, I don't know. It's hard because, well, I mean, like, it's kind of like, what are you gonna do? Like, wait, I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna resist? There's a part of me that's like, if you don't accept it a little bit, then we're gonna end up like anybody. It kind of feels like, and this might be a horrible comparison, but like robots in industry.
Mm.
where it's like it used to be an assembly line of people and you each had your task and then you do that. But now it's just kind of like you just put it there and the robots build it all. And in the end, you just kind of expect it, make sure everything worked the way it was supposed to. Um,
An
so
interesting analogy I've been thinking about going back, and I'm only interrupting because you mentioned
no,
assembly
go for it.
lines,
Go for it.
is uh, I'm sure someone back in Detroit, back in the day, said, people care that cars are made with my hands. And he
Mm.
was wrong.
Yeah.
And that is something that has kind of stuck with me and occurred to me. But I'm not so sure that that is the same fate of creative work. I
Mm.
think you're already seeing a lot of resistance to, oh, you used AI to make this. And, I think it's such an interesting evolution. Joseph Gordon Levitt helped launch this creator coalition this week, which is a bunch of major A-list stars saying, can we have a framework for this? Can we have
Mm.
legalities around it? I think for as much as the big AI companies want to say, look what you can do now, there's a big difference between that and what the industry is going to do.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a slow crawl, maybe more in that direction than we were before, obviously. But, you know, I am maybe a little too optimistic in thinking that uh, people holding cameras, like, I don't care what you can prompt, like, you need that, and you
Yeah.
need all the other stuff too, to an extent. So I love the tools as for the purpose that you mentioned, as means to an end, not the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how do you feel when you see something AI, Like,
How do you feel?
yeah, I don't feel good about it. I mean, and I think that's gonna be the majority of people. Some people won't care. Like for some stuff it's like who cares? Um, it definitely sucks for the like video effects artists who spent their life training and then now somebody is going to spend their time getting good at prompts and make the same thing, which is just hard. But I feel like there's like a certain level of like, people, especially in our day and age, I mean, what we're craving is real. It's authentic. It's people, I mean, the lack of relationships we have now and time we spend with people and um real conversations versus texting or whatever. I mean, it's just like been a progressive thing where we've just kind of like taken all the authenticity out of life and
Mm.
conversations um and you can already see like I think is it Gen Z or Gen Alpha maybe?
Well,
There's a lot of
Yeah, Gen Z is kind of entering the workforce. Like the tail end of Gen Z is in high school and maybe like middle school, and then Gen A is coming up behind them.
yeah, so there's a lot of I've heard a lot of like these younger kids are like maybe I haven't seen it personally, but like I'm hearing they're doing like trying to like detox from their phones and like trying to kind of revert back to like, hey, we want things to be out there. And I know they try to do that on social media and stuff where it's like you only post like real phone pictures and stuff. So like there's a certain level of like people crave the authenticity of real things, like tangible things and real relationships and stuff. And I feel like AI is just going to be more pull away from that. And I think people are going to not enjoy that at all.
I'm
And
with you.
I think like things that should be real that aren't real, people are not going to like that anymore. But like, and this is just all, you hopes probably.
We're all speculating. That's
I'm
part
more
of the show.
projecting, yeah, I'm more
No, but
projecting like my hopes, but
part of the show
um,
is sort of, this is a long process, and over the course
yeah,
of however many episodes we do, it'll be interesting to monitor the feelings of everybody as they see something and they go, "Oh no," or they see something encouraging and they go, "Oh, maybe things
yeah.
aren't all as bad."
But I think about like we did a documentary. I won't say anything more than that. We did a fishing documentary, um, and I don't think you can replicate. I mean, you can replicate it in the future, I'm sure. Like you give a year from now, it's going to be like I could probably replicate every single one of those shots, and nobody will be able to tell the difference.
Right.
But the idea that we went out and filmed something, and like there's real joy on people's faces of like pulling this fish in or whatever, real touchdown of like a guy catching a ball, and the emotions behind that, like people are gonna want that. Like they're not gonna be like, let's just make an AI football game and we'll just watch. Man, that sounds like a really like future. That sounds like something that's gonna happen where it's like, oh,
It
nobody's
might.
playing, but we're just gonna watch it. Uh,
Everyone's going
uh,
to try this stuff, and they're going to try it across all different types of mediums, and they're going to try it for their audiences, and either it's going to work or it's not.
yeah.
This is a politics free show, but like, for example, CBS News hires Barry Weiss. She comes in as the editor in chief. She does a town hall, and she's thinking this approach will immediately bring me viewers.
Mm,
It didn't. Advertisers backed off. The viewership was not there. Okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Like the people are gonna speak. This goes with voters,
mm,
and you can prognosticate and guess all you want with polling, and then people go and they vote, and then you know. And
yeah.
I feel like it's going to be a long process to understand how people feel about AI in creative fields. And honestly, man, um, I'm really curious if like the amount of investment required to build these tools out is going to be worthwhile for the investors in the end.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to get really rich because a lot of people are going to make AI VFX? They might not, and the
Yeah.
environment might suffer. So I'm in this, and you didn't ask this, but I'm in this space where I love innovation. I am really intrigued by it. I love being able to say this is what's new, and I'm ahead of the game.
Mm.
And I keep running into a little bit of a wall with AI as much as I use it. I use ChatGPT and Gemini all the time.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not replacing what I feel like is important to the viewer unless it's not important. Like,
Yeah.
do you just need stock footage to make a point to an investor for that video? Okay, sure. Are you trying to
Yeah.
put something out there that makes people feel something and means something to them? Well, why will it mean something to them? Blah, blah, blah. And you go down that road. So
Yeah.
anyway, that was a
Yeah.
bit of a ramble,
No,
wasn't it?
no, that's great. It's so true. Yeah, it'll be interesting to say the least of what will come out of all of this. I mean, for me, it immediately just invokes emotions of like, all right, I want more real things. Like
Yeah.
I want real. I want, what's true. I want to touch things. I want to see things that are authentic and not fake. But and like you're saying with like the like emotions and stuff, like people are gonna make commercials that stir your emotions, but if you found out that like none of it was real, then like it completely ruins everything for them. Like you could in the future there'll probably be a whole AI ad about some patient and doing something in a hospital and you're like touched by it, and then in the end you're like, that wasn't a true story. Or if you find out it wasn't a true story, you're gonna be like, okay. Well, that's like that kind of makes me not like you at all.
It
Or the
depends on the
company.
positioning because there are hospital commercials now where the patients are actors, the
Yeah,
doctors are
that's
actors.
true.
It's
Yeah.
all produced, but you're not made to think this was a real thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
intent and how that's communicated, the medium, um, you
Excuse
know,
me.
there's a lot of there's a lot of unknowns there. The people will decide. I love what you said though about wanting more real things. I was normalize therapy. I talked to a therapist. I did ever since my dad passed for the past 4 years, and once a month. And we were having a conversation about this, and I was like, I think people are gonna want. We're gonna have a renaissance of beautiful human stuff
Mm,
because there's gonna be a response, a unified response to the impending technology. Like humans collectively have never had a reason to all band together quite as much. I
mm.
don't think, and we'll see what this Spielberg Aliens movie does because maybe we're going to have aliens now. I was like, is this movie coming out because they're about to announce that aliens are existing and real and it's just going to normalize it for us? Austin, we've
That-
gone so big brain here, man.
No, I
I'd
know.
like to apologize. I've gone way off the rails.
No, it's great. I just I start getting sad because I'm like, oh no, I need to go get in nature for a little bit and remind myself of what is real.
Well, I'm in the concrete jungle of Manhattan where everything is actually, no, to be honest with you, I've actually found more life in Manhattan than I have anywhere else. It's
Th-
amazing how many people are bustling and around here that just make you feel something. So
Oh yeah, there's such a
I digress.
liveliness to being in the city, and no, and I mean, like, talk about living in community. Like, I mean, you're deep in community with people in the city. I feel like,
If you haven't,
um,
there's a lot of anonymity here because you can pass by a million people who don't care about you, but then you can
yeah.
have your people and you go, "Oh, this is cool." So,
But the
um,
relationships a lot of times are like more authentic there when you actually get them.
yes,
Because like we lived in Jersey for a year, and like the relationships, yeah, there's a lot of like smiles in the South that you're like, I don't know if you
it's like
actually like me, but in like up there, it's like if they don't like you, they'll just tell you. So yeah.
because you don't have time for that, you know, you don't have time for that, and because you're passing by so many other people, when you do have a real relationship, like there is a little tiny instance every time you pass someone who doesn't say hi to you. There's a tiny instance that kind of hits your body and it goes, no connection, no
Hmm.
connection, no connection, and you don't feel it. But then over time, when you get a chance to say, "Oh, I met this person and they live over here and they want to get dinner together," there's such a like I've made more friends up here quicker than I have
Hmm.
anywhere else when it hasn't been just related to like work. Because people want
Wow.
to get together because there's an opportunity when they've been surrounded by being anonymous for so long.
Hmm.
Is how I look at it, at least.
What made you
Um,
choose? Can I ask what made you choose Manhattan? Is that
yeah, one
okay?
more question for me, and then I want to end on a positive note.
All right.
Um, but and this has been great, by the way. And I'm hoping listeners are liking this, all 12 of you so far. We're gonna grow this thing out, but um, no, Manhattan. I don't underrate the influence of watching a lot of media over the years and what that's done to me. You
Hmm.
know, you watch Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Uh, there's a difference between watching that and being like, that's the Plaza Hotel versus just being like, oh, and Tom, that's a historic building. And I'm like, well, I don't give a crap about it. New York is full of that because you've seen New York featured in a million things over the years. So I think there was just this impulse in me to be like, wouldn't it be great someday to try that and be there? And when my wife got a job with CBS. She's a soccer commentator. She's incredible.
Oh, sweet.
Um, yeah, she's based in Stamford, Connecticut. And so we decided to come up here and just say, why live near New York when you can live in it? And let's just do it temporarily. I don't think we'll be here forever, but, 2 to 3 years, see how it goes and run out of money and then go from there. Uh, there's a reason why Zoran Mamdani was elected here is because there's no one can afford rent and no one seeming to do anything about it. So he just said the word affordability a million times and got elected.
Hmm.
Um,
Love
so,
it.
but there is a breaking in period, and I feel like we've been broken in. It's a good place to be, and um, like you said, man, if anything, I feel like I understand why you want to live in Chattanooga
Hmm.
more after living in Manhattan, and not because I resent Manhattan,
Hmm.
but because you find out what actually matters here. I think by being in this position, and for someone like you kind of already seem to understand that at an earlier age than me, and you're like, hey, this is what matters, and this is where I want to live that reflects what matters to me. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah,
Cool. Well, that's
cool.
gonna be fun. That's gonna be a good. No matter how long you stay, it's gonna be fun memories for sure.
Yeah, um, I need to stop eating and trying
Oof.
Manhattan cocktails so much, but we'll
Oh
get
my
there
gosh, the food is so
eventually.
good.
Yeah, dude. Everyone's like, "You've lost weight because you walk everywhere, right?" I'm like, "I walk everywhere and I've gained weight. If that tells you how much I've eaten." Um,
Oh my gosh.
Austin, before we go, anyone that you've been following lately, creators out there whose stuff you're like, "I got to shout them out. Way to go!" I want it. To your point, way to go.
Mm.
Who is it that you've been really enjoying? Whether it's someone well known or someone you want to gas up who no one knows about yet.
Oh man. I'm gonna give Braden Schmidt at Oregon his flowers because
Second time on the show now.
especially
We're gonna
going,
have a running tally.
yeah, especially going into the football season. Like he came out with that intro video, and I was like, this is so good. Of like even to use the second song he had in there. Um, just I don't know. There was so many things that I was like, this is just a different way of thinking than like I feel like it's so easy to copy people in the creative industry, and I feel like that looked different than anything I had seen. And he also created his cinematography reel last year, and I was like, this is just so good. So like, not only like there's not just like one thing that he's doing that's really great. It's like he's got the VFX, he's got like the editing stuff, he's doing incredible cinematography, and I'm just like, I can't believe he's still a student, I'm pretty sure. Like, isn't
Um,
he?
I don't know, but
I'm
he can't be far beyond graduation if he is
yeah,
not a student. So
a very young person doing all these things that are just incredible. So him, and this is going to be a super actually, you know what? I'm going to shout out somebody that I guess I don't know if like sports industry wise people probably wouldn't follow, but Cam Easler in South Carolina.
okay, tell us about Cam.
He's so Cam is really good. He's in the fishing industry or like really heavy into the fishing industry.
Yeah.
And like his growth over the past, you know, 2 or 3 years has just been like incredible. And like everything he puts out, I'm like, dude, this looks so good. And like he is grinding like 24/7, like always on a plane going to some new fishery, new body of water down to like Costa Rica or Mexico or whatever. But he's just constantly creating really good content, and I feel like if there's one person currently I want to give flowers to, it's definitely him because man, his stuff is great, and I'm constantly inspired by it. So, um, yeah, that's got to be one of them.
Austin, give us a parting thought on the state of doing what you do for anyone who's like, man, I've enjoyed listening to what Austin does, how he thinks. Is there a parting thought you have for anyone who's you know, maybe in the freelance space, the small business ownership space, thinking about it? What's the state of this world like right now? Any parting thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, nothing that hasn't already been said. I think enjoy what you do and find reasons to be grateful. And let's go with that one. I would say be grateful and look for things in your life to be grateful for. And it's easy to look at the negative things or be upset on where you are and where you want to be. But I think gratefulness can change your life in so many aspects from like a macro scale of like, whatever, macro, micro, whatever. From a like million-foot view and then like the tiniest
You had
little,
it.
I say macro, but like then I think macro shot of like, uh,
That
like
is
something.
confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. So like the macro and the macro,
The macro and
Um,
the macro.
so yeah,
Dude,
finding
macro films needs to launch ASAP.
now I'm real confused by it, but yeah, so looking for things to be grateful from, 1,000 foot view and then looking at things to be grateful for in the moments of your day, I think will change your life. So
I
that's what I
love it.
would say.
Um, Austin, it's been a pleasure. It has mostly been a pleasure to be mentally exhausted by the end of this show, and I hope the viewer mind has been stretched and the soul has been stretched a little bit. That is the goal of this. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate your candor, your perspective. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thanks for having me on. I enjoy a good conversation, so this was a really good time. And enjoy hanging out with you. So I don't get to do
Likewise,
that.
dude.
Yeah.
Likewise. Let's do it again
So
soon, professionally or not. I'll come down. We'll hang out in Chattanooga as I, evaluate houses down there.
yeah, come on down.
Chattanooga.
You can come with everybody else from the city coming down here to check it out.
The dang New Yorkers coming to Chattanooga. I'll be one of them.
Such an overplayed thing.
100
Of
million percent. Yeah.
all those California and New Yorkers coming down here. Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
Whatever, man.
Come enjoy it.
Creative Human. You can listen to us on Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube. Please follow us on Instagram as well at Creative Human Pod. Go follow Austin and Made Film Co. Watch their work. You now hopefully have better perspective on it. And this has been Creative Human. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. Thank you, man.